Hello, everyone. William TD here. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss new uploads. Your support is our motivation. The restaurant Le Drapeau or is a true oasis of luxury in the heart of Los Angeles. Located in one of the city's most prestigious neighborhoods, it attracts only influential and successful people, creating the atmosphere of a private club accessible only to the chosen few. Here you can encounter Hollywood stars, top business tycoons, politicians, and other high-profile individuals whose names frequently appear in social news. The entrance to the restaurant is adorned with massive golden doors, featuring an elegant emblem, a golden flag symbolizing success and status. Passing through them, guests enter a spacious, subtly luxurious lobby where soft, dim lighting highlights the grandeur of the place. Smooth lines and high ceilings, decorated with intricate plaster elements, create a sense of freedom and tranquility. The ceilings shimmer with soft light from huge custom-made crystal chandeliers, their exquisite branches blending seamlessly with the dark gold walls. The interior of the restaurant is filled with expensive materials. The walls are decorated with large paintings in golden frames, depicting majestic landscapes and the greatness of human nature. The floor is covered with polished marble, perfectly reflecting the light and adding even more elegance to the space. The main hall is divided into several cozy areas, creating an intimate atmosphere even in such a large and spacious room. At dark oak tables covered with rich velvet tablecloths, guests are absorbed in conversations and poker games. Each seat is a small island of comfort where time seems to stand still and all concerns are left outside this majestic space. The warm, dim lighting perfectly highlights all the details, giving the interior an even greater sense of mystery and sophistication. In the center of the hall stands a long bar made of polished black wood, adorned with showcases of rare and valuable whiskey bottles, including Scottish and Japanese varieties, as well as collections of the best wines in the world. Bartenders in impeccable suits, like true masters of their craft, serve drinks with flawless style and manners. Around the bar are stylish seats where elite guests can enjoy cocktails and conversation without disrupting the privacy and classy atmosphere. Special attention is given to the gambling area, where several groups of people are gathered at poker tables. The soft light from the table lamps casts shadows on the players' faces, their gazes focused, and the silent chips they move across the table add sophistication to the moment. This space is filled with excitement and tension, yet creates an atmosphere of hidden luxury, as if poker were not just a game, but an art worthy only of the most refined players. The entire restaurant is filled with the light scent of expensive dishes, exquisite appetizers, fresh seafood, perfectly cooked steaks, and aromatic desserts, all served with great care and skill. The restaurant's chef is a renowned culinary artist who creates true masterpieces, with each dish presented as a work of art. Los Angeles, with its constant movement and frenetic pace, seems distant in this place. Le Drapeau or is a world for the chosen, a world where wealth, ambition, and power reign. Here it is not customary to make noise or display emotions. The entire interior, atmosphere, and every element of decor are designed to conceal true feelings, creating the illusion of complete harmony and perfection. The entire restaurant Le Drapeau is bathed in soft, warm light that reflects off the crystal chandeliers and gently falls onto the tables where wealthy guests are seated. The scent of expensive cigars and whiskey fills the air, while the calm music from a string quartet is barely audible amidst the ongoing conversations. Claire Hampton, standing at the bar, notices how one of the groups sitting in the center of the hall continues to enjoy the party, playing poker and sipping rare whiskeys. To her, it all seems so insincere and detached from real life that she feels an urge to express her discontent. She adjusts her apron and strides decisively toward the tables. Claire knows that her views on the world often spark debates, but that doesn't stop her. As she approaches one of the large, lavishly adorned groups, her gaze accidentally lands on one of the men sitting at the table. It's Clint Eastwood, but to Claire, he's just one of those rich, successful people whose life seems like a mindless spectacle devoid of meaning. She doesn't recognize him, but his calm demeanor and self-satisfied smile start to irritate her. The other guests at the table, all in expensive suits and jewelry, watch her, but Claire isn't the least bit shy. She begins with sarcasm. Claire, approaching the table, addressing everyone, "I don't understand how anyone can sit here drinking this pointless whiskey while the world is burning with social injustice. So many people are starving and you're here enjoying life as if nothing is happening. But who am I to judge? You're not here for no reason, right?" She surveys the table with a quick glance, meeting disapproving stares, but doesn't stop. Her remark targets the essence of what she sees as the lie in this world, the indifference of the rich to the problems of those who can't afford such a life. Claire feels bold, confident in her right to have an opinion. Clint, with a slight smile, still looking at her, raising an eyebrow, might agree with you if I knew who you were, but I don't remember being served by political activists this time. His voice carries a hint of irony, which only fuels Claire's anger. She's not about to back down, her expression growing more serious, and her tone even more blunt. She ignores his mockery, only feeling her irritation grow. Claire, smiling, almost defiantly, continues, if this restaurant were a place where something truly meaningful could be done instead of just making money and catering to all these rich and influential people, I might have stayed here working. But unfortunately for people like you, it's just another profitable empire where people are nothing more than expendable. Her voice grows louder, addressing everyone at the table. Claire feels their eyes on her, and this only boosts her confidence. She's speaking not just to Clint, but to all of these people at the table, absorbed in their self-satisfied existence. There's a slight pause at the table, but they clearly didn't expect such a turn. Confusion appears in their eyes, but at the same time, there's an involuntary respect for the waitress's courage. They remain silent, unsure how to react, until Claire continues her tirade. Claire, with defiance in her voice, yes, maybe for you, it's just another place to spend money. But for us, for people like me, it's a place where we have to watch you shamelessly enjoy your privileges, not noticing how society's crumbling around us. Clint, his smile widens slightly, but there's a glint of cunning in his eyes. Maybe you're right, Claire. But the world's not as black and white as you think. It's not as simple as you imagine. His words turn unexpectedly serious, and Claire, not immediately realizing who she's actually speaking to, continues in the same tone, assuming it's just another rich person trying to justify themselves. But her words can no longer be so easily restrained. With each moment, her irritation intensifies. Claire, with bitterness, really. So who are you, then, if not just another well-wisher sitting at a table sipping whiskey and pondering the fate of the world? To me, this game is the very essence of your existence. At that moment, the waitress doesn't yet realize she is face to face with the person who is the new owner of the restaurant. The idea that her tirade might be directed at the person behind it all never crosses her mind. She resolutely finishes her remark as the other guests begin exchanging glances, feeling the growing tension. Late evening at Le Drapeau D, or the atmosphere of the hall gradually becomes more relaxed, yet still refined. Guests, having enjoyed their dinner and gambling, now move to the lounge area located by the panoramic windows overlooking the nighttime Los Angeles. Soft armchairs nearly impossible to get out of, and low tables topped with glasses of aged whiskey create an air of casual conversation and effortless elegance. The quiet chatter of the guests is gently overshadowed by the music of a string quartet playing in the corner, its sound muffled and not interfering with the ongoing discussions. The dark wood of the lounge blends with golden accents in the decor, adding an extra touch of luxury. The air is filled with the scent of old cognac and expensive cigars, an atmosphere where it's impossible not to feel part of something special. Claire, still unaware of whom she had addressed her sharp words to, steps out from behind the bar and makes her way toward the nearest table. She pours herself a glass of water and watches the guests, who seem effortlessly at ease in their evening conversations. At that moment, her gaze meets Clint Eastwood, sitting with a small group of people, including Harry Thunder Johnson, the poker player she's encountered multiple times at the restaurant. Their conversation appears calm and relaxed, in contrast to her own nervousness. She decides that it's time to step aside, perhaps relax for a moment, approach one of the tables, and maybe have a brief chat. As she gets closer, Claire notices her colleagues, who had seen her recent reaction to Eastwood, whispering among themselves. There's a slight sense of respect in their eyes for her courage, but she ignores their gazes. Her attention is completely consumed by Eastwood's conversation, which now seems deeper and more serious than just entertainment for the rich. Suddenly, she spots some papers on the table, documents concerning the restaurant's ownership. What? Claire's shocked gaze immediately fixates on the documents as her eyes scan a few lines signed by Eastwood. Her mind doesn't immediately comprehend what she's seeing. Claire, in a daze, softly, with a stunned expression on her face, wait, you're the new owner of the restaurant. Claire can't believe her eyes. Her hands clench into fists, and everything around her suddenly seems to slow down. She looks over the papers where the owner's name, official title, signatures, and company seal indicate that he's the one who now owns and runs this place. She can't believe that the person she had so sharply argued with and directed her sarcastic venom at is the very person she had so vehemently criticized. Clint, composed and calm, gently places his coffee cup down and raises his gaze, his eyes filled with hidden strength and wisdom. meet hers, and he smiles with a hint of respect. He notices her shock but makes no sudden movements. He's already accustomed to the reactions of people who find themselves in this kind of situation. Clint, with a slight respect, maintaining his calm, "Yes, Claire. This is my restaurant. I hope I can make it better." He gestures slightly with his hand, inviting her to sit. His manner is calm and thoughtful, yet shows restraint. He seems in no hurry to react, waiting for Claire to process the situation. "May I offer you a cup of tea and a conversation?" Claire stays where she is, her gaze tense, her hands clenched into fists. She feels her heart start to race, and the realization of what just happened, like a lightning strike, overwhelms her mind. She doesn't know what to do. Anger and confusion collide in her soul. The words she had spoken earlier now seem so foolish and naive. How could she have been so sure of her right to speak about something she knew nothing about? Her face shifts, first showing shock, then uncertainty, and finally bitterness. She understands that she was wrong, but her pride prevents her from admitting it right away. Claire feels her inner world beginning to crumble as she stands before this man, who is no longer just a wealthy client, but the one who now holds the fate of this place, her place. Claire takes a deep breath, trying to collect her thoughts. Claire, with a heavy sigh, tea. Of course. She finally sits down at the table, but the tension between them doesn't dissipate. The entire evening world of the Lila Drapeau d'Or continues as usual, but for Claire, this moment becomes a turning point. Clint Eastwood is no longer just the person she criticized. He is someone who can change her life. Claire sits across from Clint Eastwood in the lounge area of the Lila Drapeau d'Or restaurant, feeling as if she's in an exam she hasn't prepared for. The dim light surrounds them, and the soft glow from the lamps creates an atmosphere of intimate conversation. The sounds of music and the general chatter of guests now seem distant and insignificant. All her attention is focused on her and this man, who has become both her surprise and her challenge. Though her chest still boils within her discontent, she feels the tension between them gradually fading. However, the remnants of her pride prevent her from immediately acknowledging her mistake. Claire looks around the table, and its simplicity contrasting with the luxury around them reminds her that sometimes the most important things are hidden behind outward glamour. There are no gold decorations here, just a couple of cups of hot tea and an old leather notebook in which Clint writes something, as if he's not afraid to let these simple moments into his life. He observes her, but his gaze is not judgmental, it's more intrigued, as though he sees something more in her than just a waitress with radical views. Claire, with a heavy sigh, breaking the silence. "I always thought that people like you just play the game to win. But it seems I was wrong." Her words sound sincere, but Claire feels how difficult it is to admit her mistake. She had fought so long against what she saw as a system of injustice that she didn't realize how extreme her own ideas had become. But here, sitting across from Eastwood, she understands that the world is much more complex than she thought. Clint, unhurried, responds to her, his voice calm yet full of inner strength. He doesn't rush, knowing that changes in perception don't happen instantly, especially for people like Claire. He smiles slightly, but his eyes remain serious and attentive. Clint, with a restrained smile, thoughtfully, "We're all playing our own game, Claire. It's just that the rules change." His words are deep, but they don't sound like a lesson. It's not a lecture, but rather an opening for Claire. He doesn't judge her, doesn't accuse her. He gives her the chance to understand that every person, despite their beliefs and views, can change the rules of the game if they realize that not everything depends on wealth or power. Clint, softly but confidently, "You say we're just playing a game. But what if that game isn't about winning, but about using your opportunities to change something that matters? My success isn't just about the money I made. It's about the fact that I created a place where people can find themselves, where they can feel that there's something more than just living for the sake of living." Claire pauses. She listens to him, not knowing how to react. He continues as if he knows his words will awaken something important in her. Clint, with a slight glance to the side, but his voice firm, "Yes, I'm a successful businessman. Yes, I own this restaurant. But I don't want people to think that all I've done is fight for money. I want people to come here to feel like they can be part of something meaningful. We all need change, but it's important to remember that even if the rules of the game change, there's always an opportunity for growth and improvement in every moment." Claire, stunned, processes these words. Her usual ideas about rich people being soulless exploiters gradually begin to lose their hold. There's no cynicism in Clint's eyes, the cynicism she expected to see when she first started arguing with him. She now sees in him not just a wealthy restaurant owner, but a person with deep views who seeks ways to bring about change despite all his outward strength. Claire uncertainly, but with an earnest tone, I didn't think you were like this. I thought you were all just playing this game for yourselves, but now, I don't know. Clint silently nods, his expression still warm. He feels that Claire is starting to realize the important distinction between stereotypes and reality, and this moment is just the beginning. Clint calmly, but with a warm undertone, we're all searching for something of our own. We all want to find our place in this world, but if you want the game to be fair, you need to change the rules. And sometimes, if you want everything to be real, you have to change yourself. Claire quietly nods. All she needed was to feel that her opinion mattered and not just be rejected. And now before her sits a person who has given her that opportunity, not in the form of answers, but in the form of questions she can ask herself. Claire, with a soft smile, a bit shy, maybe you're right, maybe I was really too categorical. Clint, with a slight nod, you're not alone. We all get stuck in our ideas sometimes thinking they're the only right ones. But the key is to stay open to change. And that's sometimes the greatest victory. So, despite all her initial stubbornness and worldview, Claire begins to see that even among the most influential people, who she had thought only cared about their own gain, there are those who are seeking a way to make the world better. And perhaps she now has a chance to begin seeing things differently. The story of Claire and Clint Eastwood at the Le Drapeau D or restaurant is not just a clash of two opposing worlds, but also a deep internal process for each individual. Initially, we see Claire as a determined, self-assured woman who fights for the ideals of social justice. In her world, wealthy people are cold manipulators using others for their gain. She battles against what she perceives as a system, and her harsh words are her way of declaring her rejection of the world she lives in. However, upon meeting Clint Eastwood, a man who embodies all the stereotypes she has so vehemently opposed, she is faced with a mirror that reflects not her ideals, but her own vulnerability and the disconnect between her beliefs and reality. Clint, a man of life experience and quiet confidence, not only doesn't reject her, but also gives her the chance to see the world from a different perspective. We're all playing our own game. It's just that the rules change. This is not just a phrase, it's a challenge for each of us. We all fight for our ideals, for what we believe is right. But what is true strength? It lies in understanding that change is not always about destroying old structures, but in finding new ways to interact and using our opportunities for the greater good. Even if the rules of the game change, there is always an opportunity for growth and improvement in every moment. Clint shows Claire that true leadership is not only about accumulating wealth or power, but about the ability to look beyond one's own benefit, striving for something greater, creating a space for change. And these changes begin not with other people, but with each of us. The wisdom Claire absorbs is the realization that change is possible, not only at the level of social structures, but also within ourselves. In the end, we're all searching for something of our own, but what exactly are we searching for? Success? Justice? Wisdom? The answer lies not in destroying the system or fighting against wealth, but in being open to change and accepting that true strength is about adapting and changing ourselves. This story reminds us that every person, regardless of their position in life, has the potential to change the world around them. But for that, it's not enough just to know what needs to be changed. We must also be ready to admit that our ideals are merely one of many paths to the truth, and that sometimes the truth is more complex than it appears at first glance. The audience leaves with the understanding that change begins not with destroying the world, but by rethinking our role in it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, share your thoughts, or tell your own story. And of course, drop a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video.